I'm Lee Strauss, like I said. I'm part of the UFO team. I've been with them for 3 years. Michael's been glorious enough to allow me to hang out here with him and take some crazy videos, which I've done. I've also had some crazy experiences in my life. I'm an abductee. Had some very close encounters with that sort of thing. Also, I have the ability to be able to tell most of the time, I have the ability to tell when they're around, and I get this funny feeling. And so, a lot of the time I'll set up my camera here right where they show up, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Which James calls the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah,
he will get something in his gut that is different. Explain that to the folks.
So, yeah, I've got enough time, I guess. I get sweaty palms. I start feeling like there's butterflies in my stomach. It's kind of an unsettling feeling. And I know something's around. I'll start pacing back and forth, and then lo and behold, I've got something on video.
Or all of a sudden he'll say, I got to go out tonight and set up in a remote location. You just take off.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done that from time to time. So we'll start here with my presentation. UFO team, Lee Strauss and David Mason on UAP to human communications. So I've got some video here which will show that we actually are out there in the field having direct communication with these things that are in the sky. It's pretty crazy to say, but that's what we're doing. And we'll show the first video here. We'll video clip these things coming through the sky. And they're not like meteors. They're wiggling. They're going the serpent motion down towards the planet, and sometimes even horizontally across the sky. A lot of people think, well, you're just recording meteors or whatever. And, well, as David Mason knows, meteors do not act like this. I'll show you a couple more. Meteors travel from 20,000 miles an hour to 30,000 miles an hour through the atmosphere. It just so happens that we have correlated this to the Schumann resonance, and Dave will talk more about that. So, Dave's analysis.
Hi, my name is David Mason.
Perfect.
Today, I want to talk about videos that Lee Strauss of the UFO team recently recorded. Lee recorded objects that appeared at the onset to be meteors, but they were wiggling in the sky at a sine wave frequency. I analyzed these objects in computer software and found that the oscillations of these objects were at a frequency between 7.5 and 8 cycles per second. This comes very close to the Schumann's Earth resonance frequency of 7.83 cycles per second. This is known in physics as Schumann's resonance. I've decided to then put this frequency on a signal generator on 2 different oscilloscopes so that I can demonstrate how this appears on an oscilloscope. I have set up a signal generator, an Agilent 33-20A, to generate the 7.83 cycles per second as a sine wave. And I'm running that output signal from the generator into the input of this oscilloscope. This oscilloscope is an analog oscilloscope, and this gives a more of a true rendering of how the object that Lee Strauss recorded appeared in video. It is very similar to it. So if we don't know what he recorded, but it had this appearance to it. It certainly could not have been a meteor, because meteors fall at speeds of 20 to 30,000 miles per hour. They don't move in squiggly lines, they move in straight lines. So it's just very anomalous that he recorded that object and recorded it multiple times. And I have that same waveform into this Tektronix oscilloscope, and you can see that waveform is being stored digitally, so it gives you the consistent persistence. Instead of just seeing that line moving up and down as a dot, you're seeing it as it is stored. So it's still just a sine wave at that frequency. Just a very interesting thing that Lee Strauss has recorded, and I just thought that these waveforms would give us a demonstration of how it coincides to this 7.83 cycles per second of the Schumann's Earth's resonance.
Okay, listen, I want to clarify a little bit about what you just saw here and tell you the importance of this discovery by Lee Strauss and Dave Mason. The idea being that this is a compressed sine wave here, figure of what you saw that craft traveling in a longer, visual wave, okay? The reality is this human resonance of our planet actually resonates at a certain frequency, 7.83 megahertz, right? Or is it megahertz or cycles per second? Cycles per second. It's the ionosphere around the planet, and it's 80 miles in circumference around our planet. It's quite kind of hovered right around our planet. That's the altitude of it from the surface of the Earth. So when these objects, what we are finding out with this new technology is these objects, when they come into our Earth's atmosphere, close to the Earth, they don't travel in a straight line. They adopt the frequency of our planet and seem to be doing this Schumann resonance sine wave. I just wanted to point that out to you, that this is fantastic. Some of the things that we've all seen on YouTube and all these different things of, these anomalous objects coming straight in, if you blow it up and you slow it down, you can see that they're not going in a straight line, some of them.
Yeah, that's correct. They're not going in a straight line. Now, let me tell you, this happened in one night, and we've had several of these objects, maybe five or six of them, that we recorded. And, we record them on multiple cameras at the same time, as you can see with the camera right there. So it's almost like they're giving us a signal, a sign, that, hey, it's like an intergalactic handshake. Most of the time when we record shooting stars, it's a straight line. It burns up in the atmosphere, or it goes, into the atmosphere and then out of the atmosphere and it's gone. These things are obviously different. We have never recorded anything like it since, and this happened in one night. Okay, go ahead with your question.
What distance were those coming in at? I mean, from where you were to where those...
And it wasn't just in one spot in the sky. This was happening when we were down at ECETI Ranch. The one night, like I said, happened in ECETI, and they were coming into the atmosphere in different locations. But they were always in the direction where we had our cameras. Our sky spotter didn't see anything anywhere else, just where the cameras were, right above the mountain. So, yeah, that's just nuts. Anyway, we've got some more stuff here, some good stuff. Where's my clicker?
My name is David.
Okay, all right. So, the next video that I've got is kind of a funny video. A lot of humor involved here. Not a lot of science, but you'll get what's going on. What happened here is me and a friend of mine were up videoing above Mount Baker when we saw this object in the sky, and we started talking to it and started reacting to us as we were talking to it. And it's what I would say was definitely non-local communication.
Over the mountain, over the mountain. Coming up. Oh, it's getting brighter. Flash. Can you flash at me, please? Yes. I asked it to flash and it flashed. 10 seconds. Oh, and then my monitor went out. Oh my God. It just, my monitor. You still got out of this one, though. Look, you go. Yeah, but I don't have it recording. Oh, shit. Wait, is it coming back? It did. And then my monitor went out. And now my monitor's back on again. And I'm tracking it, and I'm tracking it. I'm tracking it right now. Can you flash again for me? Please? Please flash again for me? Please? And it's doing it! It's flashed again!
You haven't seen anything yet. Hold on.
Can you do it again one more time before you go out of screen, please? Can you please give us one more flash? Please? It did! It's getting it! It did! Oh! Thank you so much! Oh my God!
Now that is CE5, ladies and gentlemen. Lee Strauss.
Yeah, the adrenaline was pumping, let me tell you. So that was, you know, we've had this happen. Me and Michael have had this happen before. We've actually been up by Mount Baker, asked an object to change color for us, and it did. Of course, we caught it on video, but no audio, and that's what the audio is like. I mean, it's just absolute mayhem when it's actually happening to you and it's going on. So, what this shows is that we're able to transmit our thoughts to them while they're in the sky, and they can pick up on our thoughts. I mean, what does that mean? Think about that for a second. You're able to communicate with another species, possibly, or UAP craft out in the sky while you're down here. I mean, isn't the implications of that amazing? I mean, think about it. It's just unbelievable that you could be out with the intention of going out just to view craft and actually viewing craft and talking to them, and they're understanding what you're saying or what you're thinking. So the next thing here that we got, oh, good. Here's the clicker. I guess I'm working this just fine. Is our Vegas shot. And this is really interesting because what this is we go out in the field, we know that we can communicate with them. Now, back then, but we know that we have communication with them and they're listening. So we ask them questions when we're out in the field. Well, where are you from? Let's see where you're from, right? And this is what we're getting. This shot here. I do time-lapse photography while I'm out in the field with a couple. Sometimes two of my cameras pointed in different directions. And this is a closer shot. Yeah, just, oh, okay, I can do that. So it's this guy right here. This just happens to be right over this little guy here. Some call it the galactic sperm shot. So I'll have Dave explain what the probability of this object being where it is, you know, and the facts about that. Just the probability is amazing. So what you're seeing here, whoops, let me go back one. So what you're seeing is actually the star Vega right here, and the object right next to it. And I will have Dave explain the probability right now.
Oh, thank you, Lee. I found his photograph was really striking because you see an object that's self-luminous and is changing trajectory in the sky. Now, if anybody tells you a satellite or a meteor can do that, they haven't studied physics, so I'll just put it bluntly that way. And the probability, and this is what was the other amazing thing that was in that photograph, was it was the star Vega, which is about 25 light years from Earth, that the object had done its wiggling thing in the sky, which Lee had photographed, and then it had stopped just offset from the star Vega. And I measured the number of pixels that was in the entire frame of the photograph, and then I measured the number of pixels that the star Vega had occupied within that photograph. So the star actually occupies 1/22,000th of the area, or if you put 22,000 of those stars in there, you would have, you know, the entire photograph. And I thought, well, what would be the probability of just having something to give an impression on there and have it happen to be right over Vega?
it is that kind of a number that you're looking at, and it can't be a coincidence. I think that number is too extraordinary. If we can get those numbers repeatedly, we should be playing the lottery. So I thought it was rather extraordinary on the merits of what it did in the sky, and then the fact that it landed over the star Vega, which is the bright star you see in the summer months overhead in the constellation Lagrange. So,
And Dave, let me clarify also is that not only was this, can we go back to that other squiggly one that went up to the thing? Not only was this thing captured on tape by Lee Strauss in the field, can you see the trajectory? Why don't you take your laser here, Lee, and trace the trajectory of what we're looking at there? Because this, by the way, was even more complicated by the fact that this was from his camera's point of view. In other words, it's possible, we think, they know exactly where we are and photographing from, because in reality, when this thing is up here at the top right-hand corner of the thing, just barely coming in that we can see it, then it zooms straight down and takes an immediate 90-degree angle, or 180 degree, it goes right back up and then hits Vega. That's from our perspective. Just think of the astronomical values that brings about, the fact that we caught that ending right there at the star Vega. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, if I would have been 5 feet in any other direction, we wouldn't have got that photo. So obviously, they have some ability to realize where our gear is set up in relation to where they are in the sky, in relation to where the star Vega is being seen from. I mean, it's actually the numbers are even probably a lot greater than what they would measure out in the pixels of the photograph. So that's just mind-boggling to me. So when you're out there doing sky watches, or when you're out there looking at the sky, just think about questions that you might have and ask, to our friends. And maybe you'll get an answer and a response. I've got some short video clips here. This first one is going to be what I call the fast mover. And I've got it on repeat 3 separate times here in this video. Once the original speed and then slower and slower, so you can see it. What you're going to see is this object coming into the screen. It basically stops, does a light burst, and takes off at enormous speeds. And it has that wiggly pattern too before it does that. Want to see it again?
Yes.
You see it disappear? It's going so fast. It is gone.
All right, next. This is the one that's going to be over East City Ranch.
We have a feeling that they know when we're filming them. And in reality, they can get out of there as quickly as they want.
So this is right here at the bottom is the mountain, Mount Adams. And this object basically comes up from behind Mount Adams and shoots off into space. Yep, I'll show it again. Pretty neat stuff. And we got another one, pretty much the same location. This one, we had our cameras up. I did not see the craft and I started to move my camera, but it does something amazing that I've been asking for a long time, and I finally caught a craft doing it.
Whoa! You're gonna have to show that a couple times. That is just striking.
See that? I know. I'm trying to get out of the way. Let's see if I can control it this way. Well, there you go. Those are my video clips there.
Now, do you see it come into the atmosphere as well? It doesn't come off to the top of the screen. It's just all of a sudden, whoop. It's fascinating.
So we do sky watches maybe 7 times a year, you figure? About 7 times a year we get out and really do a good sky watch most of the time. You know, not with all the equipment, but every once in a while we get all the equipment out there and we're doing nice sky watches. We have probably about an 80 to 85% success rate of catching anomalies in the sky when we go out. Why do you think that is? Why? Well, maybe, but what I believe is going on is it's our intention. Our intention is to go out and see them. Our intention is not to go out and photograph a beautiful sunset or whatever the case may be. A few times that we've done that, we don't get anything. But if we go out with the intention of communicating and talking and seeing them, we get what we get, as you guys have seen now. We've got enough time to do power drain. Okay, so what you're going to see here is a video that me and Dave took. We were at Baker Lake last July. Was it in July? May. It was in May. Okay. So we had all our gear set up at Baker Lake, and we're filming the night sky like normal. And you're going to see 2 different videos from 2 different cameras of the same object in the sky. One's got a better zoom magnification than the other one. The other one's kind of a lesser grade, but you'll hear the audio and you'll get the idea of what's going on here. We had battery power just die on Dave's equipment. He's got 2 car batteries set up running his equipment. Yeah, big car batteries, big truck batteries. And I've got a little power plant that I've got for my gear. And let's play the video so you can see it. You can hear the whining in the background?
Well, it's something affecting my battery. Elevated sound 54%. No,
The battery alarm is going off right now.
Is that you? Yeah.
So the battery alarms go off. This thing comes into screen. We didn't see it at the time. And then there it is again right there. Boom. So this is from another camera view. There's the object right there. So it takes out, basically it took out Dave's 2 batteries and then put mine down to like 25%, so I was still able to record the object. Yeah.
The batteries were calculated on the ampere hours that they should have lasted 15 hours, and I think they failed just under 4 hours or something like that. And they were fully charged, new batteries.
Right. That's not the first time this has happened. We've had all kinds of manner of equipment failures, and it's almost like a calling card now. I mean, it's something you expect. I go out and set up my gear for 2 hours before any night watch, and everything works perfectly. And then when I turn things on and then stuff shows up, things start going haywire, like you heard in the other video where my monitor went out. I mean, things like that happen all the time up there. I mean, it's just expected, right? So we have massive amount of contingencies in case some equipment fails or goes down. But it does happen. And not only that, when we were down at Mount Adams last year, we had my cell phone sets up on my gear over there, and basically it picks up the feed from one of the cameras in the video. Turned off, and then it went to Amazon, and it started searching on Amazon. And nobody was touching the darn thing. He just started doing this on his own. Maybe they're trying to buy something, I have no idea. But it happened. But that's all I've got. That's my presentation.
Well, wait a minute.
Michael's
You
got
haven't
some
told them
questions.
about the Strauss effect yet on how you protect your gear from this happening.